Great Things by William Anthony, illustrated by RINTOUL. A patch on one eye. The sound of an engine rumbled along the forest floor. Voices whispered and were caught in the wind. The growl of an engine awoke another growl, a different growl. It was a growl from an animal. Two eyes twinkled in the dark. The rumble came close before two bright lights lit up a family of tigers. The large tiger guarded two much smaller cubs. One cub had a large round patch of black fur around its eye. The cubs backed away as their mother roared at the car. The car moved forward. So did the cub's mother. A car door opened. Roars and screams filled the forest. The two cubs scampered away as fast as their little legs could carry them. One of the cubs found shelter inside a fallen log. It was all too over her eyes. Hours passed and the night turned to day. The cub opened her eyes as sunshine made its way into the log. She moved slowly, step by step, before taking a nervous peep out the end. The forest was silent. Once she felt brave enough, the cub made her way back home. The mother and sister were nowhere to be seen. The cub tried to call, but her roar was more of a little meow. The tiger searched for her mother and sister. Days, weeks, and months went by. In fact, such a long time passed that she was barely a cub anymore. One day, the tiger's search led it somewhere very odd. The ground was hard and gray, and there were tall walls and lots of humans. The shop bell tinkled as Darsha came in to stock up on paper. Darsha was only 6, but she could craft anything with her little hands. She loved making things. Darsha also loved her name. It had a special meaning that said she would do great things one day. Darsha's eyes flickered between the green paper and the orange paper. Green was better for her dragon model, but orange was better for her paper fruit bowl. Green or orange? Dragon or fruit bowl? Everybody stay out of sight. Lock the door, shouted a man as he burst into the shop, knocking off the bell. The shopkeeper rushed to lock the door, while the shoppers hid behind stands and tables. Darsha curled up below the window. Screams from the streets outside filled her with ears. She moved up onto her knees and took a peep through the window. People were running and finding places to hide. "Get down!" insisted the shopkeeper. Suddenly, the street felt silent. Darsha didn't move. She was too curious. She stayed glued to the window. The shoppers gasped. A pair of eyes met Darsha's on the other side of the window. They were surrounded by orange, white, and black fur, and underlined by long whiskers. Darsha had never seen a tiger this close before. The tiger had never seen a human this close before either. But neither was scared. Darsha could see excitement in the tiger's eyes. The tiger looked playful and gentle. In one moment, the two seemed to have a connection. In the next, the tiger had dropped to the ground. Two people picked up the limp tiger and carried it toward a truck. As they loaded it on, Darsha noticed the words on the side of the truck. Bak Bahi Bandhu. The words were Hindu, but Darsha didn't know much Hindu. As the truck pulled away, Darsha ran home to her mother and dad. "Mom!" she yelled. "Mom, I need your help." "What does Bak Bahi Bandhu mean?" "Calm down, Darsha," giggled her mom. "It means the Tiger Brothers." Why do you ask? Darsha explained all about her day. Then she explained that she wanted to find the tiger. Darsha's mom didn't feel like giggling anymore. Don't be foolish, said Darsha's mom. Darsha's dad didn't know what to say. No, cried Darsha. The tiger was friendly, and I want to see it again. Tigers hurt people, Darsha. Don't be so silly. Go to your room and calm down, said Darsha's dad. Darsha stamped her way down the hall. She had to see the tiger again. She logged onto her computer, typed in Bahi Bandhu, and tracked down the address. It wasn't far. Darsha opened the window. She looked back to her bedroom door. Her parents weren't going to like this. Soon enough, the tiger's brother's sign came into view. The moonlight lit up the building, just enough for Darsha to find her way around to the back. Tall metal bars jutted up into the air, keeping her from getting in. Something rustled in the bushes. Two eyes pierced through the leaves. Hello, quivered Darsha. A rumbling growl grew deeper and stronger, and a slow patting of paws turned into a gallop. The tiger roared and ran at the bars of the cage. Darsha closed her eyes. Her heart was racing. Then the roaring stopped. Darsha opened her left eye slowly, followed by her right. The tiger was leaning forward, as if she knew who Darsha was. Darsha took a step forward, and the tiger jumped back and forth. The tiger's eyes grew wider and filled with excitement. It ran in circles and bounced around. They played through the bars until the sun began to rise and Darsha had to leave. Over the nights that followed, Darsha kept returning to see the tiger. She called the tiger Aditi, which means freedom. She showed Aditi her paper models, including her most recent creation, a tiger. Darsha and Aditi were becoming the best of friends. One night was not like the others, though. Darsha sat by the bars on her own all night. Aditi never came to see her. In fact, Aditi had left altogether. Happy birthday, everyone cheered. Darsha loves birthdays. Being 9 was going to be tough, though. It wasn't far off from being a teenager, and that wasn't far from being a grown-up, and nobody wants to be one of those. Darsha's dad had a surprise for her. Her parents packed the car, and off they went. All the excitement had made Darsha sleepy. Her head bounced on the seatbelt as the car bumbled over holes in the road. Darsha, we're here, said her dad softly. Darsha didn't wake up. Darsha, he grunted as Darsha jumped a little in her seat. She peeped through the window and read the sign, West Bengal Zoo. Darsha went to sit beside the window. She pulled out her tiger model. While she was setting up the model, a tiger wandered up to the glass. It seemed interested in Darsha's model. Darsha's eyes grew wider. Aditi, she muttered. The tiger stood up and roared. Suddenly, the tiger was much less friendly. Darsha screamed, and her parents held her tight. She turned back to see another tiger approaching. Its slow patting of paws turned into a gallop. The second tiger ran and roared at the first, scaring it away, and then pressed its nose to the glass. Looking at Darsha and the model tiger, excitement filled the tiger's eyes, and it started jumping around. Aditi! Darsha pressed her button nose up against the glass window, and the tiger did the same. These eyes had met before. Darsha and Aditi had found each other again. They played through the glass just like best friends, while Darsha's parents watched. I told you 3 years ago that Aditi was gentle and kind. We could have saved her back then, but you wouldn't let me see her, shouted Darsha. A tear fell from her eye. I won't lose her to a cage twice. Help me free her, please. No, it's too dangerous, Darsha's dad said firmly. Isn't that right? He said to Darsha's mom. Except Darsha's mom was gone. At the last part of the sunset in the sky, Darsha and Aditi arrived at the edge of the forest where Aditi once lived. Aditi's legs were shaking. She took a few nervous steps before looking back to Darsha. "It's okay, Aditi. This is your home, remember?" said Darsha. Aditi didn't relax. But Darsha had an idea. She slowly led Aditi back into the forest and started gathering plants. She placed them on the floor in the shape of a pillow. Darsha laid down and rested her head, and Aditi laid beside her. "I'll stay here until morning," Darsha said. Two things woke Darsha up the next day. One was the bright sunrise. The other was a deep growl. Darsha blinked. A set of sharp teeth greeted her. She called for Aditi as the new tiger came close, but Aditi was gone. The tiger's eyes met hers, and Darsha noticed something odd. This tiger had a large round patch of black fur around its eyes. Another growl came from behind Darsha. Aditi was back. The two tigers let out a fierce roar and paced around each other. Then very suddenly they stopped. Everything felt silent and still. Aditi pounced on the other tiger. They rolled around but didn't seem to be fighting. They seemed to know each other. They seemed to be family. Humans and tigers were never supposed to be friends. But somehow Darsha managed to make friends with the tiger like no one ever had before. Darsha lived up to her name and really did make great things happen. 4 days later, Aditi was happy and free, back with her family in the forest. Darsha was making another model. It was another paper tiger. Fold by fold, she carefully finished it that night. Then she colored a large black patch on its eyes. She put it on her bedroom shelf, right beside the other tiger, where they stayed together forever. The end.